I started.
Alrighty. Take us away, Keith.
Well, starting. Get it. To kick in. I didn't do the normal have us sitting there for a second. You know, Gaines says something out of pocket. Sometimes you got to give it a second.
We are live.
Now we are.
All right. Thank you, Roger.
The message come through.
Thank you, Roger Forger.
What?
His shirt. He's wearing the Spy X Family shirt.
Yeah.
I just realized.
Yeah. What's going on, everybody? It is your favorite group of individuals from Almost in Full Color. I am Keith, and the panel to your left. Wait, this is different for everybody, right?
I'm pretty sure it probably is, but if you look at what is on the actual stream,
I mean, easier just to say I'm Keith, the one talking, because
or you can just look at the stream.
The
and
one
just...
talking. Next up is
me, the other one talking, Gaines.
Or you can just look at the stream and say what is the true correct way, which is my way.
It seems Terry doesn't want to introduce himself, and that was Terry. Finally, we have Roger.
Hey, I'm the one speaking now, talking, so you could tell.
Yeah.
Apparently, we need to make
so
sure
hard to tell who Roger is.
So I need to put like name tags next time for people. Is that what you want me to do, Keith?
It seems that's necessary now.
No,
we used to have name tags, I feel like.
Well, I'll make the name tags if you allow Gaines to make the name tags.
What?
Wait, what?
I'll have name tags if you allow Gaines to be the person that comes up with everybody's name.
Oh, okay.
Oh, following slightly.
Just let Gaines choose everybody's name for the day.
Well, for those who are new to the channel, we are a gaming podcast, so we talk a lot about we're a gaming channel. We talk a lot about gaming and have game reviews and let's plays and things of that nature. Today is of the podcast flavor. A lot of stuff to talk about now that we're hitting that end of year phase. And to start off with, I guess we'll start with some messy business and just talk about some of the things that have been brewing in this console war between Microsoft and Sony, once again heating up real nice. And this is over Call of Duty. Well, not Call of Duty in itself, but it's a big factor in this feud that is getting ready to take off into full flight, I feel like, in 2023. For those who don't know, Microsoft is looking to purchase Activision Blizzard for an absurd sum of money.
$69 billion.
Please get the number correct.
Absurd.
Jeez. Starting off terrible.
And with that, a lot of individuals felt a way about this acquisition happening. One of these individuals was Sony, and they kind of went out and, said that they felt like this would mess up the market. Microsoft feels like it will not, and Nintendo's not complaining. So why are you all complaining? I'll stop right there. Do you all feel like that's a valid assessment from Microsoft? At least do you feel like it's fair? Like, Nintendo's not complaining. Why are y'all?
I mean, that's where everybody plays Call of Duty's Nintendo. Come on.
That's why no one's even over there. Like, why would they even complain? They have nothing to gain or lose from this, as they don't support Call of Duty.
Exactly. So why make the argument? I don't know why we're having this conversation, Keith, after that point.
So you're saying is Sony should just let it ride, or is Microsoft?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes, let it go. Let it go. It'll be all right.
This will go on from there, as Phil Spencer will come out and say, "Hey, we told them we let them have it for 3 years after the arrangement that currently is on the books is up." Jim Ryan was upset with this, saying, "Oh, I guess we just put public business or our business out in the streets like that." I didn't think that's what we did in this business. Like, those were private conversations. Do you feel like those private conversations should be something that gamers should know about in this situation? Or do you feel like Jim Ryan has a point in, hold on, those were negotiations between us. I don't know why you would put that out there. And 3 years is kind of low, if you ask me.
I mean, they've already started letting it play out in the court of public opinion. So at that point, I mean, everything is kind of fair game at that point, unless it was, stated behind scenes like this is, part of a NDA type discussion where, this is actual stuff we're keeping behind closed doors. But I'm sure that probably was just them just talking behind the scenes. And I'm sure that PlayStation has said they were trying to paint Microsoft in a bad light. So it's like, wait a second, like, you guys are trying to make it seem like we were just gonna come out and just rip up the contract, just take it from PlayStation immediately type stuff. Like, no, like we were saying we would let you have it for a while. So don't try to make it seem like there was no transition or no honoring of current contracts, so, but like I said, once you start playing it out in the court of public opinion, it's just gonna be a lot of dirt throwing and people trying to save face, and you're not going to get a whole bunch of facts. It's just more so trying to placate to the audience of love me more than you love them.
Yeah, I was going to say that 3-year thing. I don't know. It depends, because I feel like they got mad because, like Call of Duty's lifespan on PlayStation was going away. But I can see the negative of that, of like, man, it would suck as a PlayStation person, like if that was their plan to do 3 years, like, oh, they were just going to let us hang and dry. Like, you buy the games and then it's going to be, after 3 years, it was going to go away, and it was like, that was closed doors. So it's like, I don't know, like, I feel it's all shady now, and what Gaines is hinting at, since so much is coming out, it's hard to say anything. So I don't know, it's weird.
Well, them buying Activision basically makes them buy what, Treyarch, Infinity Ward,
everything,
Sledgehammer, like underneath there.
Yep.
Which is where Sony kind of is like, hey,
I mean, they wouldn't have a Call of
Duty.
Yeah, I'm about to say that's the franchise they're really only worried about, it seems. So
I mean, Sony's pretty much kind of screwed. I think that's why they're trying really hard to stop just the acquisition itself from going through, because if it goes through, they lose either way. Because even if Microsoft came out and said, hey, we're going to support PlayStation, Call of Duty on PlayStation day one, just like we do on the Xbox. We're not going to pull what Sony did to us with Destiny, because we are taking the high ground. We're not going to hold back any content off Call of Duty. They'll get all the content same day as everyone on PC and on Xbox. The only difference will be that
I was say Xbox.
I'm just saying, like,
the DLC maps. Was it a month?
They held it for a month
before.
Yeah, a month or 3 months. They held it from PlayStation before they gave it to them.
Okay, I just remember Destiny being like one of the big games that I think Sony had it for like a year or something.
Yeah.
But they'd say the only difference is that Call of Duty will be day one on Game Pass for absolutely free. Technically, I mean, obviously you got to be subscribed to Game Pass, but it's not an extra $70 you're going to pay. And if they just happen to throw DLC included in there as well, I mean, that by itself, like, not too many people going to want to just pay the $70 and pay, for DLC, when it's like, damn, I could just get an Xbox and get Game Pass, and I wouldn't even have to buy the game. And I think Sony kind of knows that, like, yeah, that's a hard battle to fight, trying to explain why people should pay $70 to play the game. And even if they buy both systems, that's still a reason to just get an Xbox for the side. Like, even if you're a main PlayStation guy, you might just kind of do what I do, just get an Xbox and be like, hey, there's some games that's gonna hit Game Pass, and I'll just get them over there because they're gonna be included. And that's still enough for Microsoft to get a subscriber and move a console. Like, so I'm sure Call of Duty will definitely help them kick into those subscribers, get a huge bump in Game Pass, and also help move a few consoles as well.
Yeah, I guess it just all depends on how much does PlayStation lose from this, like sales wise. Maybe if they're thinking they're losing a lot, maybe it's worth it. But I mean, like, Call of Duty's been trending downwards. It's been getting worse and worse every year.
Dude, this Call of Duty just did the best numbers ever for any Call of Duty game.
Weird considering how many people are.
They had the biggest opening weekend ever in Call of Duty history for Modern Warfare 2.
I was about to say, you could tell it's hurting Sony just because they're fighting it. Like that. I mean, the fact you're going to fight it is like, it's going to hurt.
Well, it's weird because it's like, I want to know how many people, if they issued refunds yet. I think they might have closed it actually. Like, how many people are not liking what's happening with Call of Duty?
I mean, you see how many people's already on Game Pass, like, and you can see Sony is struggling with having a compatible or a comparable service. Like, Sony doesn't really know what they want to do with their service yet. They're already talking about introducing this PlayStation Stars thing. They're talking about revamping the services that they just rolled out, the 3-tier service. They're talking about changing that because I guess it wasn't taken all that well, or didn't adapt, or
it's confusing.
Yeah, pretty much. So they're talking about changing that. Now I want to say they're going to just roll it all into PlayStation Stars, but then they're talking about like the NFTs, but they're named something else, but they're pretty much NFTs. That so it's like a whole thing. I guess they're trying to figure out what they're going to do to combat Game Pass, or at least have something on their side that does the same thing. But I feel like they kind of got caught off guard with the whole Game Pass subscription thing, and then seeing a huge library like Activision Blizzard be able to go into that day one is like, that's 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 pretty hard to fight against when you're getting games for free, and we're over here trying to charge you $70. so it's pretty. I mean, it's just pretty tough on their side. So I doubt they stop it from going through, but like you said, at this point, try to exhaust all resources to stop it.
Seems a lot of people are starting to look into this right now to figure out, which way the tree will sway in terms of if they get it or won't get it. Some specialists say it won't go through for reason XYZ. Some say it will. It's hard to say, but after this occurred, then Microsoft came out and said, well, we don't think this is going to mess up the market. We only have 26 million people with Xbox. I don't remember if they said Game Pass or Gold at this point. They said, well, they got 49 million subscribers to their PlayStation Plus services. So, like, us getting Call of Duty is not bad. Like, they're already killing us. They're outselling us 3-1. Like, it was just weird. I mean, like, hey, no, like they're Goliath. We're just little David over here. Let this go through. And then from there, they said, you know what? Hey, we'll leave Call of Duty on PlayStation for 10 years if like this can go through. Like, we'll publicly, go on that bandwagon and say like, hey, we'll let them have it for 10 years. At this point, do you think Microsoft is being shady or deceitful? Or, I mean, this is business.
They can't lose. Like, you're not lose. There's as long as the acquisition goes through, no matter if they say we'll have Call of Duty on PlayStation for the life of the franchise, day one it'll be there forever. We'll never take it off. Like, you'll get all the content same time as we drop it on our systems. Like, that's a ton of revenue that's going to come in from PlayStation. So they'll win from that, which will help them develop other games, other first party titles that they can pump right back into the ecosystem of the Xbox and the PC. If they just get a ton of subscribers to Game Pass, which they will, they win there. They move consoles because they have Call of Duty, like, free, and all the other Activision games that's coming down the pipeline. They're already talking about, like, once they bought Activision, they were going to pull away from this whole every company under Activision pretty much supporting Call of Duty. They was like, you won't get a Call of Duty every year. These companies are going to go back to pushing out their own licensed IPs like they used to do before they all became glorified help desks, so to speak. So you can tell, like, they definitely want to get more quote unquote exclusive titles to Xbox. So I'm sure PlayStation is also aware of that as well, and it's like, well, we don't need to give any more value to Game Pass right now, because right now Game Pass has good value, but you can also argue that they haven't really dropped any like killer titles on Game Pass outside of Halo, and honestly, Halo kind of rung a little hollow this time. So you can't let them keep swinging, especially with a Call of Duty, because that's going to hit every time. So like, no matter how bad it is, like Terry said, it's the worst one they've ever done, or one of the worst, but it did the most money ever. So it shows you, it's kind of like Pokemon. They unstoppable. you can't stop it. Can't stop the rock.
I didn't know Treyarch made Spider-Man. I was trying to think of like what else could like
I
didn't know what other games.
Well, they don't have the rights to it, so they wouldn't be able to make it.
Well, no, I was just kind of like I was just thinking, like, what do you make them do? Like, if you want Call of Duty to go back to like the 3-year cycle of not introducing a game every year, because I mean that I think at this point that might have to happen.
They're probably gonna make it live service, because that's 3 years of just DLC and battle passes. They already got that. And,
they have it right now with the 3 different like studios. But if you want to break up the 3 different the 4 studios,
Infinity Ward, Treyarch, Raven,
and Raven, Sledgehammer are the same.
Or Raven, Sledgehammer, yeah.
So yeah, it is 3. So like, if you want to get to the point where you just want them to go away and do their own thing, because I don't know. I think having the yearly cycle of having Call of Duty out is starting to show pretty badly, or maybe it's just games in general are starting to show that a yearly cycle is terrible. But what do you have them to go back and do?
You make them do the impossible, Terry. You go get that Superman license because no one's asking for that. Get that Superman license and you do the impossible. You make a good Superman game.
That's
Shock
how
the
it's
world.
there.
It's impossible.
I don't think that's ever gonna happen. That's like wishful thinking, maybe.
Just remake Superman 64 and put it out. If
they made a good Superman game, that acquisition would definitely get canceled. They were like, you are too powerful. They made Superman, and this is good. Like, no.
So the final bullet point to this was Sony retorted against that whole 10-year thing, saying that even if it's 10 years, no game has a stopping power that Call of Duty has in that realm. So he said Battlefield can't stand up to it. You saw Medal of Honors try. You saw that game Mag that got put out that tried it. Like, no one can stand up to Call of Duty. And Terry mentioned that they were on the downward swing, which because they fired so many people and they're trying to do all this union busting, they've lost so many quality assurance testers. So many people have actually been either fired or just left. And that's why we're seeing a lot of bugs in this Call of Duty right now with the G-walking and all the other weird stuff that people have figured out that you can do. This gremlin walking or goblin walking. Roger, you look very concerned with
goblin walking.
G-walking. It's either goblin or gremlin. I can't remember which one it's referred to as.
That's the one where I think I know.
You go prone and you sprint at the same time and you basically run on all fours. You also jump during this, but it's a wild thing that people figured out that you can do.
Yeah, you can do it. It's called snaking in Destiny, but yeah, I know what you're talking about. Snaking in Destiny? It's something.
I've never seen anyone run on all fours in Destiny.
No, it's not that. It's like
a Titan just running on all fours.
Is it shoulder charging you?
Maybe it was an older Call of Duty. Damn it. No, it's basically you're in the prone, but when you're looking at the person, it looks like they're a snake on the ground, moving, actually standing up. It's a very fast movement. It's a very fast movement that you can do.
On console, we don't have access.
No, you can do it on console now, especially PlayStation, since they allowed you to change your inputs.
Yeah,
it's a very interesting movie.
Do you all think that the assessment made by Sony that no game ever will stand up to Call of Duty is a valid assessment, or do you think at some point another game will come in and kind of take the reins, but it just has yet to show?
I don't know about the. I mean, it shows how messy this got because I was shocked Sony had. I think it was their lawyers that said it. Basically, was like Battlefield's no Call of Duty, kind of trashing a group. I never heard of a console person being like, "Yeah, this game is not it." Basically saying. So that just shows
how desperate they are to stop
it. Like I said, that's all I got. I didn't even think of the game valid. It was just more they're concerned about this. When you're starting to just throw everything under the bus and call out this isn't Call of Duty, which I'm sure they have numbers to show it, but it's valid in the sense they're saying it. But like I said, it's showing more desperation to me of you're calling out people there where I'm sure smaller companies probably be like, wow, Sony doesn't even think much of us.
Yeah, I mean, no, honestly, right now, Call of Duty's kind of been running that style of game for quite a while now. So for whatever reason, it just sticks. It's no matter what you do, if you make a game similar to Call of Duty, it's not going to be Call of Duty. I mean, it's kind of like Pokemon. There's plenty of Pokemon clones out there. There's some that have better mechanics. They have better. Literally, it's like someone played a bunch of Pokemon games, fixed every issue people had with them, and just named it something else that wasn't Pokemon, and people were like, that's nice, but I'm not wasting my money over there. I can't catch a Charmander. I'm not trying to catch Fire Lizard. Fire Salamander is just not it. Charmander or bust.
Basically, Tim.
Yeah, Tim, Nexomon, all those type of games. What is the other one? I think it's Coromon or something. Coromon.
Coromon.
Koromon, yeah, Koromon's actually really good. It's not gonna outsell Pokemon ever, no matter how good it gets.
I like the Sonic Frontier style naming of Pokemon. I have to make a game just called Fire Lizard, Water Horse, and stuff like that.
Shark, Tower, Red Tower, Silver Tower. I was like, y'all really rushed through these names on Sonic. Like this
That's
last
the Pokemon
day,
game we need.
Like, what is he? Shark, tank guy.
Hey, those are some great names you just named off. All right.
Those are all real names. None of those were exaggerated.
Oh, that's why they're so great. Apparently, they made it past the QA stage. So, story development, all that stuff. Great names. Keep them up.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say that the Battlefield statement means Sony dislikes the other groups, but if they were to say like, "Hey, NBA Live is no NBA 2K," I would say, yeah, you got a point. Like maybe they're not supposed to say it. Maybe it's like
that's the thing.
Bad etiquette, but it's honest. Like I don't know.
I mean, you got to think that they've probably said such flattering things about Battlefield to DICE before. Like we can't wait, man. You guys are top tier, like right, some of the best out there. And then, like, as soon as this hit the fan, it was like, man, them shit. They barely get through goddamn game in if it wasn't for our money. Stupid shit, shooting the tanks and flying. No one would do that. Oh shit, man! The goddamn door was open. Them motherfuckers heard it. They heard it. They're just like, yeah. I worked so hard on this game.
But moving on from that, Hideo Kojima the big rumor is that the Game Awards, Hideo Kojima will be unveiling some details about his new game, possibly even a trailer. Do you all think it's going to be as weird as Death Stranding, or do you think he'll dial it back some and maybe not be so
Amazon Delivery Part 2? Let's go.
I think it probably will be. I think it'll probably be something strange. I mean, Death Stranding wasn't a bad game. It's just not a game that's it's just not gonna grab a ton of people. Like, it's just not. I really feel like his best work was Metal Gear Solid because it allowed him to kind of put his art style into a story, but it kind of kept it contained to where it didn't go ridiculously crazy or like too out of bounds to where people like had a hard time following the story. So I feel like that kind of was good, but I do feel like one, obviously he can't use that stuff anymore, and two, he probably doesn't even want to associate with Metal Gear anymore. And he's got to that point to where he kind of got forced into that role for so long. I think he wants to show that he can do something like just completely different than that and still make it, seen as such an art form that Metal Gear Solid was seen as, especially Metal Gear Solid like 2 and 3 were seen as like just amazing. But it'll probably be something crazy. He did say he wanted to do some type of successor to Death Stranding. I don't know if it's like a direct successor to it or something like in the same vein, like maybe kind of building on what he started with Death Stranding and kind of polishing up some areas that maybe didn't, get fleshed out as much as he wanted it to. So, but I do feel like it's going to be something odd just because he's that type of person. Like he's that type of artist, so to speak. Like his games aren't just a game that he makes for people to have fun. Like his games, he wants them to have like deep meaning and like thought and all this stuff into it. And sadly, those type of games just, they don't grab everybody.
So what I'm hearing you say is that you being an Amazon delivery person wasn't fun.
Well, you had to really know the story, but the only problem with that is Hideo Kojima's stories take like 6 to 7 hours before you like actually understand like, okay, this is what's happening. Because Death Stranding, you don't understand the story for quite a while. Like you don't really understand why you're doing anything. You don't understand the real story, I guess.
Yeah, I expect weird, but I hope they do change the gameplay. I hope there was enough feedback or something, because I know I never played Death Stranding, but I know I watched Gaines deliver a lot of packages, which I think that would help. I don't think you're going to lose the weirdness, but if they had something a little more to it, that would be kind of nice and maybe get people back on board.
I think the biggest thing he has to get away from is he can just sell any game off of his name.
Well, because he made Metal Gear.
I mean,
well, yeah, there's that, but it's like
everyone's waiting for him to
in
make
Death
the next
Stranding.
Metal Gear. That's all it is. Like they're really waiting for him to make the next Metal Gear.
And that's hard to do.
Yeah, one of the things that really helped Death Stranding, I don't know if he did it on purpose or if it just like seeped out of his mind because he's made so many Metal Gear games that sometimes it just influences your stuff, was that a lot of stuff in Death Stranding like tied kinda to Metal Gear. Like had little things that be like, was he trying to make this part of it without making it part of it? Because obviously you don't have the license and all that type of stuff. But like tons of people like Mad's in there, the guy whose eye bleeds. Like he's just like the Sorrow. He's literally the freaking Sorrow from Metal Gear Solid. Like there's so many little things, in that game that can reach back to that game, to the Metal Gear Solid series. I don't know if that was some secret thing he was doing or if it just happened because he's so used to, making that type of stuff. I don't know. Maybe the next game will be something completely that ties into it. And it'll be a super shocker that he even might work with Konami or something like that. That would be crazy.
Yeah, I hope it pulls back from the eccentric side a little bit and bring it down. I guess if you play the Metal Gear games, you kind of know it kind of gets a little, how do I call it, paranormal at times, and awkward things begin to happen. But I think there's just a fun factor to these things that maybe kind of fell by the wayside for a lot of people. And then when you get full on blown weird, like with Death Stranding, it just kind of takes you aback a little bit. So hopefully you can find the balance between things. But I'm really looking forward to this and a bunch of other potential announcements. Tekken 8. Ed Boon says they're not displaying a new Mortal Kombat, but he's a super troll, so we never know. But should be a good time at the Video Game Awards. But before we get into like our games of the year and all that, Final Fantasy 16 had got a mature rating for depictions of sex, and the big one that has people in a bit of a funk, I suppose, where scenes of hate crime occurring. Do you all feel like that's excessive? I guess the verbiage or the way that was said as to why they got the mature rating, or do you feel like it's not really?
I mean, we don't know anything outside of just the rating, right? We haven't seen that many trailers, so it's hard to kind of answer if it's excessive or not because we don't know how far into it goes. Like all we have is what people are saying, like, oh, there's a hate crime in it. Oh, well, we're gonna rate it. It's like, but what happens though? Like it's hard to say because we don't know. They've only done one trailer, two trailers, and that's just gameplay of summonings of the summonings that is in the game, and who our main characters or who we're playing as. Like it. Outside of that, I don't think we know enough to kind of like say that rating is way too much. It's hard to say right now.
Yeah. Nah, I don't know if it was like too harsh of a rating, kind of like Terry said. I mean, without seeing like the scenes that kind of got it the rating, it's kind of hard to judge it to be like, I think they kind of went a little overboard there. Like that's not really that bad of a scene, but I mean, maybe they just want to take it into a little more mature directions. Kind of seems like Final Fantasy is getting more westernized every time they bring out a new game. So maybe they want to try to tap into, I guess, more of the Western like problems, I guess, so to speak, to kind of relate to, I guess, Division and stuff that you could say is going on now. So maybe they want to kind of bring that into the game as well and kind of feel like maybe it'll reach out and like people will relate to it more.
Yeah, I was about to say it's very blurred. I mean, it could just be at the beginning when you start, no one likes your character or something and it kicks off a fight. It could technically be like the hate crime thing. So still blurry. You just don't know. I don't think Final Fantasy went like overboard. That would be like a huge shock, but it's just hard to tell.
What did the first Modern Warfare 2, what was that rating for that? Was it mature?
Yeah.
Or was it teen?
Yeah.
Probably.
It was mature because of the airport
I feel
scene.
like we were all supposed to like have
but you could skip the airport scene too.
Games.
You didn't have to play the airport scene. It like basically gave you a message right before the scene. Well, it was the opening thing of the game, and it was like, "This is like very graphic, blah blah blah. Like you can skip this if you want, or you can play it." And obviously, you just shot a bunch of civilians in an airport.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of curious about. I didn't know if that had got a mature rating or not, because I was like, well, I mean, technically, I guess.
But at the same time, it also got its rating before 9/11 happened, I believe. Because I think the patch was like something near the end they had to put in because like all that was
after
already
that. Because I thought that's where people got, but I can't remember when the game came out.
2009.
Oh, that's way after.
Yeah.
Huh?
Like 2000. Modern Warfare 2 came out 2009, 2010.
Oh, yeah. I thought you said 2001 for a second. I was like, what?
That's all. I was just curious. Go ahead, Keith.
I find it weird people are in a tizzy about it, the verbiage with that. Anyone's played JRPGs, I swear it's like a staple to have like some super out of left field stuff happen. Final Fantasy X, Waka is with you, and he's flat out racist. It is not
all
hidden.
time.
It is straight racism throughout the game. Like, one of the characters in your party has to hide her race because she knows he hates Albed. Like, so it's just like I mean, granted, I just play JRPGs a lot, so they all have like slavery, or it's always something of that.
There's always a lower class usually in JRPGs that where they like get treated as less than, like that's usually par for the course in a JRPG, but I don't know. Like I said, maybe they went maybe they used some explicit language,
maybe
or maybe
like an LGBT person or something like that, and someone's getting killed for being gay. That would be kind of different and new and risky. But, I don't know. I feel like it might be in the vein of kind of what's always been in JRPGs. Maybe they just have to code it a different way now. I don't look at the rating system ever, so I don't even know what sex automatically. I think that automatically gets you
sex usually gets you an A if you see it.
Oh, okay, yeah. So,
but if it's if it's an A ranking or A grade or A rating, it can't be sold in box stores.
Yeah, it gets
it's
you're
pretty
in
much
a different
like
category.
It's pretty much like a death sentence for your game. If you're looking to sell, a lot of copies, there's a lot of games that get the A rating, but they kind of shoot for that from the beginning, and it's more like a smaller, niche crowd that they know, like that's what they're looking for us to do. Like we know we're not going to sell a lot of copies. We sell to our group, and they want us to be raunchy and go overboard with it, so it doesn't matter. But if Final Fantasy got an A rating, like it'll be a death sentence. Because you wouldn't be able to buy it. Like I don't even think you'd almost have to. You might be able to buy it though. I don't know what they do with the online stores, like for Sony's Marketplace, Xbox Marketplace, stuff like that. I don't think they are held to the same standard. Because back then they made the rules based on everybody going to stores, and kids could go into Toys R Us and Walmart and could potentially purchase this game or something, and that's what it was made for. So I don't know.
PC, you go to different stores, but.
Yeah, so I don't know about the digital marketplace if it, falls under there. Maybe, I don't know. I doubt it. There's some crazy games on the PlayStation and Xbox store when it comes to like that hentai crap. You'd be like, what?
Oh no, I know on Steam people got mad at one game because they cut it out, and I was like, oh god, what am I reading now?
Well, shoot, people were pissed at Final Fantasy VII because they reduced Tifa's chest size. They like compared it to the original on PlayStation and was like, she has on a sports bra that's pressing them down now, and I was like, bro. For you remember that? Like, how? What?
He's laughing, but he's hiding his current review of the game.
He was like, they reduced them things by 17,347 pixels.
But yeah, without enough information on exactly the scene and stuff like that, it's kind of hard to say much. We probably won't hear anything until it gets closer and they start doing the. What is it? I can't think of it. Like the reviews that people are able to do early, whatever those things are called.
Like early access review, whatever.
Yeah. So until then, I mean, we won't know unless they come out and be like, all right, here's what the scene is. We're gonna.
But by that point, I mean, it's already been greenlit. So
yeah,
they've already
by then it's already done.
You know, got their final
done with the game, so they
were
just
and whatever it is, it wasn't horrible.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like they probably feel like kids ain't gonna be really buying Final Fantasy anyway. Probably it's kind of more our group, to be honest. By now, like we grew up with Final Fantasy. I don't really see a lot of young kids like running to play a Final Fantasy game. I don't even think young kids really play RPGs like that anymore. They just play like battle royales and Minecraft. Like those games kind of probably will die with us. Unless we brainwash our children now.
Gotta start them early games right now. Go get your kids some a nice game.
Wake them up with a Titus laugh. Scar them forever.
But
this is my favorite game, kids.
There's something I thought Nintendo would be impervious to. Granted, I only play a few Switch games here and there, but however, I never really noticed many bugs per se. With the release of Pokemon, we've just seen, at least I've seen a bunch of them on Twitter. Mostly hilarious. I don't really find these bugs to be like
people getting just Thanos snapped out the game right in front of your face.
I don't think it would kill my gameplay experience as much as it'd be like, yo, what the hell is going on? I just reload my save and try it again. But ultimately, do you all feel like with Legend of Zelda, what's the next one called? Tears or something?
I forgot, to be honest. It's like I think it's like
the name.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they released the name. It was Tears of something.
Keeps right. It's like Tears of something.
Tears of the Kingdom.
Tears of the Kingdom. Do you all feel that people should be worried about Zelda or just anything coming out the Nintendo camp, as now it seems like they're having some bug issues? I think Bayonetta had a few of them here and there that people complained about, but two of their bigger releases in recent history, kind of bug related issues that a lot of people ran into. Do you see this continuing for them, or do you think they'll next bud?
Most likely not, because I mean, you gotta think, because like Pokemon, they've never done this high of a scale of a game, like as open world as it is. Because I think they said it takes literally 30 minutes for you to get cross map. Never have done that before. Whereas Zelda, I mean, we've already seen it.
What does that mean?
No, it
30 real life minutes.
30 minutes for you to get across the entire map. That's how big the map is.
Okay.
Whereas like Zelda, they've been doing this kind of for like a long time. Like they've always made the huge open world maps. So like you'll still get bugs regardless with them, but it won't be to the extent that Pokemon was, because this is the first time Pokemon has done something on this large of a scale. Like you can kind of see it. Like they try to overdo it a lot by putting more into the map than they should have, because the map is just you just can't do anything with it. So like the amount of bugs you see, the amount of dumb things that happen in it, probably won't get those kind of dumb things with Zelda. Granted, Breath of the Wild was still pretty buggy, but to this extent, probably not.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I don't think this is really a Nintendo problem. I think it's the trend of the market. A lot of games are coming out with issues. It's kind of weirdly acceptable. Not like it's weird reviews are starting to hit it more, but you're seeing a lot more games with that. Where I think the Switch problem comes in is the hardware limits compared to the other current gen consoles, where these bugs are just way worse. People are starting to get used to faster frames, and the current consoles, you have a little more room to kind of mess up. You have more power to handle some stuff. Where the Switch, like you try to go open world, well, now I have to worry about the field of view you get, and how much items that's loading up because I'm working on limited hardware compared to everything. And the games that are experiencing, because Pokemon's not Nintendo, that's another company like creating
Pokemon
it.
Company.
Yeah, so I think Nintendo probably is like really working with Zelda, and they took their time. Like Terry mentioned, Pokemon just did like a complete 180 with this open world, trying to experiment with that and kind of the fast battle loading, which is cool. But yeah, I think it's just more hardware and the trends that we're seeing with this year and last year with games of they just have bugs.
I mean, honestly, no. I don't really feel like they'll run into any issues with the Tears of the Kingdom. Just because one, like if you just look at Zelda's past, is normally whenever you get multiple Zelda games on the same console, there is not like a huge difference between the games when it comes to like graphical fidelity or anything like that. They pretty much take the same infrastructure from the first one and just build upon it, which is what we're going to get with Tears of the Kingdom. I mean, you're going to get this pretty much the same map, probably be obviously changed from a visual standpoint, might have stuff moved around depending on when this one, I forgot when this one takes place. I think it takes place after one. So you might have a lot of the aftermath from the battles of one or before or whatever, whenever it takes place. They did the same thing with Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, where Majora's Mask was literally just cut content that they couldn't get into Ocarina of Time. They had so much extra content. They was like, yo, we can just make a whole nother game. And then on top of that, I think Nintendo really is just kind of letting the Switch sit where it is, because what people want from the Switch, I don't think is really viable yet. Like, there's not really a chipset out there. Like, people are like, I want 4K, I want this, I want that. Like, there's really no handheld stuff out there that's like can really push those type of games yet. So I feel like Nintendo kind of knows that, and they're just like, well, we're not going to give them what they want anyway. And we make titles where we can just get away with it, like Pokemon, Mario, Zelda. Like, these games, they just they're immune to graphics, if that makes sense. You know, they can get their own little art styles or whatever, and they'll sell millions and millions of copies and keep them afloat. So I think they might be waiting for technology to kind of mature a little more, and they want to probably keep that whole handheld infrastructure since they've killed the 3DS. And that way they can kind of combine those markets from a console and a handheld perspective, which they did with the Switch. And probably just, like I said, waiting for better technology so that they can actually give you more of what you want. But that probably won't be for like another 2 years or so.
It's going to be a while. But
I mean, the Steam Deck can't even run 4K. So
yeah, I'll be fine with freaking 1080 60 if they can get to that point, like undocked. Like, if they want to get to 4K docked, cool, whatever. But if they can do 1080, because it's 720 30 right now.
Yeah.
Undocked?
Well, no, hey, I can't remember Hades. I think maybe Hades you had to have it docked.
If you do docked, it can support 1080p. Put it this way. So it's all on the game and what they put in the game and stuff like that. But can it display in 1080p docked? Yes. It can, but it's all dependent on where you're at in the game and stuff like that. Very few games ever actually do when they're docked.
Yeah, I was like, Breath of the Wild, you run into the same issue when you have the game docked. Of course, it takes a second to load, but I think Pokemon, it was. I mean, you're looking at people in your background. I think I said it when I kind of streamed it for a little bit on here. You're just looking in the background. You just see like somebody like tiptoeing like they're on a slideshow or something while you're moving at full speed, and you're just like, what the hell is this? Like, if you can get past that, the story and everything for the Pokemon game is actually really good. But it's the fact that I'm watching a slideshow happen for you got a one windmill in the background doing 10 FPS, and then you have another one doing like 1. Like, what and how does this pass? How do you think that's a good idea to be like, yes, we're going to put this game out?
Because it still sold millions of copies.
Yeah.
The sales always are what lets it pass.
8 the first week, million.
It's
I think it sold more than any
sold
Pokemon
a lot.
game.
Yeah, it definitely sold anything.
So there you go. You just solidified that for the next one.
It's just one of those things, like, you don't see that in the trailers. You know, of course, it's hard to watch trailers now at this point, because what you see happen in a trailer, you're not going to see in your game. Like,
I'll say they're not even probably running on the hardware.
Probably not. I mean, I've been watching people have been modding Pokemon, and it looks so much better now because they've been making it run at 60 FPS, and you can see the game is so much better at 60 FPS. Maybe it is the hardware, but it's bad.
We won't stress Terry out anymore with that.
That's fine. I'm all right. I'm all right.
But I had a topic, and then Terry said he hated it, so I've revamped said topic to.
What's the topic? No. What's the topic? Say
the
it.
Topic that you hated?
Say it.
It was about the DJ Vlad dude saying if you play games a lot, you're.
Oh, we don't care about that guy. That guy. That was we don't care.
The topic
about that
has
guy.
been revamped to ask the question. If you had to pick like one of your greatest gaming moments, what is it? And do you feel like it was a good moment in time for you?
I don't know. Mine might be. I guess when I actually got first place, speed running Turtles in Time. That was like a big thing. Just because it was like I've never been first in the world in anything for gaming. I mean, obviously I was a certain categories for running it on normal, one player, one controller. But I mean, that was crazy that I ever even got it. So I definitely didn't think that ever would happen, but ended up happening. I know I'm not first now. I think I'm second still in that category. I'll have to double check that though. But I know I'm not first anymore. Somebody else ended up getting it. But that probably would be mine. I mean, just from an accomplishment standpoint, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything of that nature. I mean, besides whenever like you get like a super clutch moment whenever we're playing like Fortnite or something, or Destiny, or I guess maybe whenever we were raiding in Destiny, it was like maybe a few of us alive.
The time when he kept Richard in the corner. That was the all-time high.
I mean, Richard was doing great over there, not doing anything, yelling at B, telling him what he doing. Let's help him out. There's great times. I mean,
like, Richard, no matter what you do, I don't care if anyone goes down. Don't come out to Rev. Just stay here, just in this corner. I was like,
hey, those are some great times at 2 a.m. trying to finish a raid. Everybody complaining about they going to work, and I'm just sitting there like, yep, I don't got work tomorrow. I'm good.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I have like anything outside of that.
Yeah, mine's not really a moment like that. It's more like an era of I like the online 360 where I guess everyone's life sunk up with high school and college where like basically we played Call of Duty or Gears every night.
Yeah.
Like that's probably the thing of just we just a lot of
that was actually like a super high point in gaming, to be honest. Like, I mean, you was really able to really play games with each other. Like when the 360 dropped, that whole party system and stuff like that was like super groundbreaking. Granted, everybody used to have like little LAN parties and stuff, but there was a lot of effort involved to do that. And you had to be at everybody's house and stuff like that. Like you had to plan it. When the 360 dropped, you literally just send a text and be like, "Yo, hop on the game." And you're just playing
and that's when you didn't have private chat, so you heard everybody, which made it entertaining and horrible at the same time.
Yeah, but then you got private chat, so I mean, shoot, we were literally just being there, just talking. You could play your own game and still be talking to your friends. You didn't have to play the same game to talk to each other. So that was like, yeah, that probably was a pretty big high point in gaming.
For me, I'm mad now. Roger chose a fun time. Mine is more of a serious one. But I went to a tournament defending the North. I didn't even make it out of pool play. I think technically I came in like 86. Pretty bummed about it. Then I went to, it's called a local, but they could range in any size really. Went over to Maryland and played in a Mortal Kombat tournament. Took third there. So I was pretty like, it was like a redemption thing. I was like, man, I'm so terrible. I couldn't make it out of pools. But I think Defending North had like 800 entrants, and whereas the one in Maryland was only, I think it was like 70 people.
No, Gaines was really 2. You just don't know what happened.
I finished third. There was like more people there.
It was like I think it was 70-something people at the one over in Maryland. So it was just nice, and the community was really good for that. I actually really like that community. So good times in the fighting game community.
Well, shoot, if we're doing that, I could have said.
He's like, I love that community. They were all less than me. I was able to beat them all. Good group of guys there, I tell you.
I think I have like a first place Pokemon League Cup card around here somewhere. I don't know.
Uh-oh. We got Terry ready to compete now.
Let's do this. No, I'm not even gonna talk about my first tournament experience. Was terrible. I didn't even finish. I think I went like 1-8. It was bad.
Jeez. Well, for this segment is
Keith didn't care nothing about Terry's song.
I didn't know what that meant. I was like 1-8. Like, how many games are you supposed to play? How many
did
you have?
It was a 9-round tournament. Yeah, I only won one game.
Oh, okay. I was very confused. I didn't know.
No, it was
I don't
bad.
know. Mine was double elimination, so it was you lose twice, you go home. It was.
Best record wins, or best record gets you into day 2. Never came close.
They just let Terry get obliterated. Let him keep losing.
But we have our unnamed segment in which we let you all know games that we've enjoyed in the recent histories or games that you should check out. Because we're at the end of the year, I figured we would recommend a game or 2 or 3, however many, just of games that you really, really enjoyed this year that you would definitely say are worth a buy, especially if anyone's looking for a Christmas gift or something like that. So what's a game that you were game 2 or 3 or whatever? I know Terry only has one.
Yeah.
I mean, I have multiple Pokemon games that we can name off here. All right. RuneScape, it's easy. Unless somebody else go though.
I guess you got it. You can go.
Okay. I'll say Sonic Frontiers. I mean, I'm pretty sure people probably thought I would say that one, but it's a obviously newer game out. Actually, it's good. I would say it's a good solid like 7.5, maybe on a weekend. But it's it's a good redeeming title for Sonic. Like I said, it's not like groundbreaking by anything, but I believe it's cut down to like $40 now. So it's actually a pretty good time to buy it. If you are a Sonic fan, you'll like it. I mean, it's definitely a lot better than what they've given us over the last few years. What I will say though is if you go back and play some of those Sonic games that were seen as pretty bad, if you play them on next gen consoles, they actually don't play all that bad. It seems like those games really suffered from hardware at the time. So if you played those games later in life and you played them on the PS5 or I think some of them even on the Xbox, you might have a different idea of those games being good or bad. But for people who played them when they did come out on like PS3 and stuff, yeah, they were pretty bad. But yeah, Sonic Frontiers is pretty fun. A lot of collecting, so if you don't like collecting games, you might want to steer clear of it. And the oldie but goodie that I did replay, so I kind of do 2 games, is Fable 2. Fable 2 on the Xbox. I played it on the Xbox Series X, but it's part of Game Pass. And that was actually a really good game. One of those games I was worried about playing because, like me and Roger always say, you kind of scared to go back and play those games you loved back in the day because you're like, will it hold up? Will it sully my idea of the game when I try to replay it? And that one didn't. They did revamp it some for the newer gen consoles to kind of pretty it up a little bit and increase the frame rate, make it play better. So if you've never played a Fable game, I would recommend Fable 2. And if you're looking for a good Sonic game, Sonic Frontiers.
Roger.
I guess I'm going. Okay. I was trying to think of games I played and enjoyed a lot this year. I didn't play too many, so I guess I got 2.5, 3 games, I'll say. I did enjoy Stray a lot. I liked the graphics of it. The gameplay was a little lacking, but it was a cool, like, just playing as an animal and seeing, like, a different perspective of a character just running around. Shredder's Revenge was pretty fun. I like Ninja Turtles not as much as Gaines on them games, but that was actually a good new version that held up to expectations. Again, not like overwhelming, but it was perfectly fine. And my big recommendation probably for this year is really not a game. That's where my half point. I would just say Xbox Game Pass. I played a lot of games this year just on there. Gaines mentioned Fable 2. I played Titanfall 2 for my stream. Really enjoyed that. Missed that. Just a lot of games. We played Bad Company during Gaines' stream. Like, just with Game Pass. We're like, let's play this. We'll try that out. So that's probably my big recommendation for Christmas is just if you have Xbox, you should have Game Pass. That should be the gift if you don't.
I'm trying to decide what Pokemon game to say. I wasn't sure yet. There's so many out there. But go ahead, Keith. Go ahead.
All right. Altair makes up his mind. First game I'll recommend is God of War Ragnarok. It is what you think it is. It's a AAA title through and through, straight content. You're not going to be feeling as if they're going to put out DLC later. They give you the whole game. It is very much worth the $70 that, as in it's a full game. I didn't encounter any bugs or anything like that. Felt good, played good. Amazing game. I think it will win Game of the Year. Although I did not play Elden Ring, so hard to say. Horizon Zero Dawn Horizon Forbidden West, also a really good game, really good just sequel. You always think they're gonna like not do as well, or much like Last of Us 2, how a lot of people had issues kind of with the path that was taken, not necessarily the game itself, but just the story direction just went in a way that people really didn't get down with. I think Ragnarok and Horizon Forbidden West both take really good paths to what the future of their games look like, and they kind of give you that in a way that makes you interested in the next title, but also gives you a format of closure within the title that you're playing, so you don't kind of feel like this I need more feeling. You kind of feel like you wrap up loose ends, but they still leave some mystery for you. I will recommend 2 JRPGs. If you're looking for a turn-based one, I would recommend Soul Hackers 2. Really good turn-based, made by the same team that makes the Persona games. So think of that in terms of style and music, which kind of really drives that game. And if you're looking for a good sci-fi JRPG, I'll tell you Star Ocean: The Divine Force, which I believe is currently on sale right now for $35. Really good game through and through, and the crafting system allows you to break the game, which is always amazing, as that's what Star Oceans have. You spend time crafting, you will just become God. And it's a great feeling. Now we throw it to Terry to give us Pokemon recommendations, or will he surprise us?
I know, right? It's crazy. Oh, you already took God of War, so I'm not going to recommend that twice. Fortnite's free, so I mean, really, what am I going to do with that one? There's
about the Battle Pass.
Oh yeah, the Battle Pass has been great. You know, right now you can't play the game for how many hours, Roger?
I don't know
so far.
It is down.
It was.
Yeah. Okay, Jaden came to me freaking out like, man, my Xbox man is just stuck on his screen. Did I break it?
You should have thought he made him break it. You should have done that. Yeah, no, I haven't been playing nothing. I play RuneScape and Pokemon, whatever new Pokemon game is out. So there's that. What do we got? Genshin Impact, Tower of Fantasy were all right this year. Had like a lot of like support. So there you go. Free games. Unlike everybody else telling you to spend $70 for one game. Terrible. Terrible.
Hey. Super worth it. I'd do it again if I had to. Well, I spent whatever I spent.
Rich flex.
I would say he's got this. He's got the one that's like to his back left there.
But all right, ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna do it for this time. We plan to do the Mario Party annual game that has been on hiatus due to plagues and diseases. But
plagues and diseases. I
had to blame it on something.
Mario Party Christmas stream is back.
But it will be back. So make sure you hit that subscription button, notification button to come see Luigi win and Yoshi to be upset somewhere.
Wow. Wow.
But as usual, everybody, peace, be easy, be blessed, and we'll see you in the next one.
So we let Gaines say whatever he desires right now while the stream is still up. Go ahead, Gaines.
Nope.
No, nothing.
I have no parting words for anyone.
Satisfaction, Terry.
And then stop